Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Hotel Orloff here in scenic rural Retreat, Virginia. It's Wednesday, June 21st, 2023 AD, in the year of our Lord. Once again, we're brought to you in color on the Gratu Orloff Inspirational Network. And once again, our sponsor is Liquid Death. Mountain water. You like it, it hates you. Liquid Death Mountain Water. Boy, that sure is refreshing, ladies and gentlemen. When we last left off, we were looking at some Marvel Bronze Age horror books, and let's continue with that. Listening to the music from the Munsters soundtrack, I probably should turn that off. Because, you know, copyright, all that. What can we listen to? Oh, all right. Put on some music that's copyright free, ladies and gentlemen. All right. When we last, where were we? Oh, I know where we were. Yeah, good. This comic, Weird Wonder Tales, is a great comic. Weird Wonder Tales number 3. And now I need to get some more. I need to fill in the holes in my run of Weird Wonder Tales. It's another great reprint comic. This is a childhood copy here. I remember buying this off the spinner rack in San Antonio, Texas. Some of these issues, as I was telling you earlier, reprint a great character from Marvel's history, Venus from the 50s. She was this cool character that used to be in the comics, and I'm not sure which issues reprint Venus offhand, but I'm sure there'll be some of the ones I don't have. 22, Dr. Druid. Okay, so that's great. That's Weird Wonder Tales. Then we have Where Creatures Roam. You know, I think this is my only copy I have of Where Creatures Roam, number 8. Yeah. You know, I'll pull these boxes out and I think, I've got this great collection. I realize, no, I really don't. Where Monsters Dwell, number 1. And Where Monsters Dwell, number 3. Reprint of the first appearance of Gratu, the giant ant. This is a cover redrawn by Marie Severin, the great Marie Severin. It's got a tape pull, unfortunate tape pull. But I have another copy. I don't have the original Strange Tales where Gratu first appears. I really guess I need to. That is one classic issue, I won't say key issue, that I guess I really should get, you know, since I use that name and everything. Let's see. Okay. Where am I at, man? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Just one moment. Sorry. There'll be an episode of Four Color Fossils here, and it's about almost 4:30 here Central Time, and that goes on at 7 o'clock tonight. There's Where Monsters Dwell number 5. This is a beat-up copy. It's been chewed. It's someone had a price tag on it at one time. Just great reprints. Tired of being skinny? Here's a full-page ad for a Snoopy model kit. That's another thing. Not only are comic books dead, I mean, essentially dead as far as younger people reading them, but I think model kits are something that have been forgotten in this era of video games and virtual reality and all that. Okay, Where Monsters Dwell number 6 reprints the first appearance of Groot. Now, Groot used to be more talkative when he first appeared. Behold, I am Groot, the invincible, who dares to defy me. Now he just says, I am Groot. I defy you, Groot. I shall destroy you before midnight. I always thought that was great. I defy you. It's just, I don't know. You can say what you want about Stan Lee, but the writing was incredible. Here's Where Monsters Dwell number 7 with Rambo. Man, it's just so great. Sometimes words defy me, ladies and gentlemen. How great these are. That's the kind of thing. Roy Lichtenstein would take a panel like that, blow it up to 6 foot by 6 foot, and sell it and make millions. But the original genius is the artist in these comic magazines would, I mean, it's pure genius. I mean, you don't get much better than this. Rambo, and on this side, you've got a giant Frankenstein and skeleton poster you can get. You can learn karate, you can have a projector, and you can see through and see people's bones and see what lurks beneath clothing with 3D glasses. Here's number 8, Where Monsters Dwell. And we met Groot, but with issue 11 you meet Grooto. Groot, and Grooto. What will be the monster that appears in issue 13? These are all reprints, by the way, of the late 50s, early 60s. The Marvel Monster Comics. Marvel was doing a lot of monster comics right before the superheroes took off with the Fantastic Four, number 14. And the Fantastic Four, when it started, was half monster comic with a Thing, and they were fighting monsters. You know, the first issue of Fantastic Four, they're fighting a monster, not unlike what you're seeing on those covers. My verdict on Liquid Death, it's very smooth. It's just basically bottled water, but it's delicious. Here's 16. This one I remember amusing me. I am Gugam, and I am power. Die like the ants you truly are. I remember picking this one up when I was in college, I think at a Half Price Books or something, and just the dialogue is great. That was number 16. Here's number 18. Yeah, but like I said, for years these comics were very hard to find, And I think they still are. I don't think most comic stores stock these even today. Here's number 20. Fantastic stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And here's another copy of that same issue, but it's from a pedigree collection. He spelled his name out in the title here. It's Dwayne Harris. I think Dwayne Harris is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, isn't he? And so this comic book once belonged to him. Oh, and on this Clag story, that's the first time Klaus Schwab did pencils for Marvel back in 1958 that they reprinted in this. So it's a key issue. And here's Where Monsters Dwell, number 25. And this one I remember buying when I was, this is my childhood copy. I remember buying this in Hampton, Virginia in either late 1972 or early 73. Here's number 28. I got a lot of Where Monsters Dwell. Number 30. Number 31. Maybe I should show some of these on the 4-Color Fossils tonight. This show will probably, if I try to upload it right after I film it, it'll probably wind up going on the air on YouTube right about in the middle of 4-Color Fossils. That's 33. I hate doing that. But some of these might be cool. And I don't know what I've shown on 4-Color Fossils before. Here's 35. Here's another copy of 35. Isn't that amazing? It's even better the second time. I've Eric Breened myself. That's a reference. 4-Color Fossils. I was like, Eric Breen has got like everything right at his fingertips. So whenever someone shows a comic, usually when it's Eric Breen's turn to show comics, he'll show a comic. Oh, look what I found. It's the comic you just showed. And so now we call it Breening each other. So, just in case you have no idea what we're talking about, all right, let's see what else we got on music choices we have for the background here. I was listening to these Korean singers from the 60s that I'd never heard of before 2 days ago. It's a girl group. Where are they? It's the Han River Angels. Although they spelled it Angles there. But anyway, from Korean singers from like Singapore record label or something. Here's a modern Where Monsters Dwell, probably from the mind of Mort Todd. It's just reprints of old stories, but done today. Today being probably over 10 years ago, but I consider that today. It's another great book, Worlds Unknown, which was a Marvel science fiction book, but it tended to adapt stories from famous science fiction writers. Yeah, I can immediately identify my childhood copy of Worlds Unknown number 2, also bought in Hampton, Virginia from the 7-Eleven. I can spot my childhood copy because my brother Mike drew red blood on the teeth of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. See, it's not there on my copy I bought later. And this is a story by these writers, L. Sprague de Camp and Keith Laumer. When Robert E. Howard, the creator of Conan and Cull and Red Sonja and all that, great writer from Texas, he passed away like at age 30. He killed himself. Well, you call it passing away when you blow your head off. I guess committed suicide. He was very upset about the passing of his mother. Anyway, he left stories behind that weren't finished or were fragments. And L. Sprague de Camp, I think, and Lynn Carter, as I recall, they finished some of those fragments of Conan stories. So they're not entirely Robert E. Howard's work. They're, whatever. I'm probably not telling that story correctly. Here's Worlds Unknown 3 with an adaptation of The Day the Earth Stood Still. A great, it was a story first. I think it was a short story, not a novel, that was turned into that great movie from the 50s. Now, there was one made with Keanu Reeves a few years ago. I never saw that remake. I never gave it a chance. But this dinosaur story, I think that was made into a TV movie in the 70s. I think so. And then this story, Arena, Frederick Brown, I believe the short story Arena was the basis for the Star Trek episode where Kirk was battling the Gorn. Am I right on that? I could be wrong. Worlds Unknown 5. This one is A.E. Van Gogh's Tale of Horror from Beyond the Void, Black Destroyer. They're trying to sell it. This is a monster stalks the spaceship, a Marvel masterwork in the tradition of TV Star Trek, because by now we're still in the 20th era, but around 73, 74, right in that era, Star Trek was put into syndication, and it was shown all over the country. Right when you got home from school, there was Star Trek on. It came on when I was in San Antonio in 3rd grade. I think I'd get out at 3:30. It would start at 4. And it was just something you did every day. You used to watch Star Trek, then you went out and rode your bike, and then I guess dinner was ready or something like that. So Star Trek became huge. It exploded far more than it had when it was on the original network run. It was now hugely popular to the point where they almost revived it and started a new TV series, Star Trek Phase 2. But Star Wars came out and they said, well, we could probably just scrap this new TV series and make a movie. And so they started making Star Trek movies. And Planet of the Apes was like that too. It started coming on television, the original movies, right about that same time, and I think it was a far bigger commercial success when it came on TV than it had been theatrically, even though it was big in the theaters. I mean, as far as toys and merchandise, it all exploded in the 70s and I was just the perfect age, 3rd, 4th grade. This is The Thing Called Killdozer, which is based on a Theodore Sturgeon story, who wrote Star Trek scripts. And this was turned into a TV movie that came out almost simultaneously with this comic book release. Yeah, it says, as seen on TV. We're getting low battery, man. That's not good. So this is another one. That's why you need boards behind these books, man. I've never been rich. I just don't. So how do you have all these pinball machines? Well, I inherited some money when my father passed away, and that's kind of where it went. But this may seem like a big place, but it wasn't very expensive, and I just sold a house that I had inherited in the old country and just paid for this with cash. This is The Golden Voyage of Sinbad when that first came out. The sequel to The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. So I'm not rich. That's why, you know, well, why doesn't he just buy bags and boards, the cheapskate? It's because I gotta eat, man. Here's number 8. That's The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, which was a wonderful movie. I remember my dad taking me to see that at the basics, at the Fort Sam Houston Army base. They have a movie theater on most Army bases. So they used to back in the old days when Army bases were well funded, before Bill Clinton came along and closed up a bunch of military bases. And then didn't Hillary Clinton sell a bunch of uranium to the Chinese? And now it's like the last, just about every president almost in my lifetime has been in the back pocket of the Chinese. Now they're letting the Chinese army go into Cuba. You didn't hear that on the news, did you? Here's Curse of the Weird, Mort Todd's, one of his pet projects when he was working for Marvel, reprinting old stuff again, like they had done in the 70s. He's reprinting the stuff, recolored. Curse of the Weird. You can find that in dollar bins. I guess I put romance comics into this box too. I'm putting just stuff, odd stuff that doesn't fit in. Here's another copy of My Love. It's just the John Romita artwork's so beautiful. Look at this one, man. Look at that. It's so great. All the stuff that comic book collectors have traditionally avoided, eschewed. How do you pronounce that word? E-S-C-H-E-W-E-D. Eschewed. I've always seen that word written. I've never tried to pronounce that word in my life or say it, but I don't even know how it's pronounced. I've only seen it written. I'm like, speaking of presidents, I'm like Harry Truman. He was very brilliant, but he knew all. He was very. He knew all these big words, but because he learned them from reading at the library in his little small town he grew up in, but he didn't know how to necessarily pronounce them because he never heard anyone say the words. And so they say that people that mispronounce words, you know that the cool thing about them is, you know, they learned those big words by reading. And so that's kind of a cool thing. I'm going to have to change the lighting situation in order to give you electricity so this phone doesn't die. But anyway, the stuff that people have avoided, I've always been attracted to. Comic collectors, I mean. So how are you guys doing on this wonderful Wednesday evening? After I film this, I might go live for a few minutes, and then I might, then I gotta eat, and then I'm gonna try to get on the Four Color Fossils. Last week it was a disaster because I just couldn't get online, and then by the time I got online, they said, well, we're pretty much over with tonight, and so maybe I can get on there early tonight. Since I last broadcast, I sent all the, where's that? Hold on, I sent all the DVDs out. Okay, so I can give you the tracking numbers. Three people. Of course, I can't read this. One went to Clifton Park, New York, and that's supposed to be there Tuesday, June 27th. Sometimes they'll be there early. They have been, although, the postman, the guy at the post office told me he had just found out that on July 7th, stamps are going up 3 cents. Just letting you know. And then one went out Where is it going? Oh, to Mesa, Arizona. That's going to Kevin at Gotham City Comics in Mesa, Arizona. You need to shop there, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be there Tuesday, June 27th. And the one going to Califon, New Jersey, June 27th, Tuesday. That's what they claim. So hopefully that'll be early. And I've got a package coming from Mesa, Arizona that should be here Monday, and that'll be a great unboxing. Hopefully it'll actually come Saturday. Liquid Death, ladies and gentlemen. Is the lighting okay still? I had to turn off the ring light. Here's another love comic. Love story. Now, I don't know, you guys ever watch a show called Comic Book Heaven? It's a reality, kind of a reality show on YouTube, and it's filmed at a comic shop called Comic Book Heaven in, I think it's in, is it in Massachusetts? I think it is. Anyway, the owner of the store is a very interesting guy, but what they do is they go into the store and they interview the owner, they interview the customers. It's just, you see them looking for comics and talking about comics and movies. It's interesting. I find it interesting. But anyway, love story. There's a reason I brought that up, because I was watching, look at this beautiful artwork, man. It's unlike the art you see in the other Marvel comic, but it's beautiful. Look at this, man. Okay, so what he does is his customers that are longtime customers, when he gets new old comics in, before he prices them, he lets his longtime customers look through the piles and pull aside comics they want. Then he'll price them, and then they come back in a few days or the next Wednesday, and he has the comics priced, and usually he says they're happy with his prices because he's fair with his prices. But he was showing some comics to a guy yesterday, and they came across this, or in the show I was watching yesterday, it's a recent episode, they came across this book, and he said, I've never seen that before in my life. The comic store owner was saying that. He says, I remember Marvel had a humor comic called Crazy, and the guy looking at it was just in love with it. And I mean, look at this wonderful Marie Severin art. Look at the grenade going into Captain America's mouth. He was actually called Charlie America. And I don't think that either of them, the customer or the owner, realized these are reprints from a comic in the 60s called Not Brand Ech, which was a parody comic. Oh, there's Kang. It's what do they call him in this? Clang, probably. So they even draw in like alley-oop and stuff. I wish I had more light. Let me see if I have an extension cord. Anyway, Crazy was here's a parody of the X-Men. Crazy was how I first discovered Not Brand Ech. And they even, Marvel goes mad, and the title Crazy makes a lot more sense. Not Brand Ech, every time I talk about that comic, I have to explain the title. I don't think kids even in the 60s had any idea what the heck does that mean. And it's just, you got to know about old commercials. They used to, if you have a commercial for Bold laundry detergent and you want to show how it compares to, what's another brand? Some other brand, you don't want to name the other brand because you're giving them free advertising. So you say, here's how Bold does against brand X. It's just represent that one by brand X. And look, the clothes are so much brighter and whiter from being washed with Bold. And so several commercials in the 60s used to compare their products against this nebulous brand X. So Stan Lee started referring to DC Comics, their rival, as Brand Ech, which was was a sound effect popularized in Mad Magazine, which is basically the sound of someone vomiting. So you had to be aware of those commercials, which were on television constantly in the 60s. And you had to be aware that Stan Lee called DC Brand Ech. And then the fact that the comic's called not Brand Ech, oh, okay, this comic is not from DC. That's what the title basically meant. We're Marvel, we're not DC, we're not Brand Ech. Very complicated title. Crazy makes more sense, the reprint title. Okay, you know what crazy means. And then, so Crazy was a reprint title that lasted a few issues and then got canceled. Hold on a second. Oh, I have another extension cord. I can plug the light in. Light going again. Well, let me show you what we're listening to. Oh, shoot.